Here is adolescent weight loss secrets. With over 12.5 million of our country's youngsters overweight, we need to discover inventive approaches to urge youngsters to embrace solid propensities. Be that as it may, it's hard enough to get grown-ups to assume liability for their weight and well-being. How would you motivate kids who are additionally managing the turbulent idea of being a youngster to prevail at weight reduction? Overweight youngsters bear a significant weight. They should adapt to the prodding, social seclusion, boisterous attack, and passionate torment that frequently come about because of being overweight, just as their own negative mental self-views. Wes Gilbert, child of enlisted dietitian Ann Fletcher and one of the adolescents who is profiled in Fletcher's book Weight Loss Confidential, depicts his uneasiness and blame about being overweight. I stressed over whether garments made me look fat, others' opinion about me, and particularly when old companions gave me the look when they saw how much weight I'd put on, he says. At the point when Wes at last shed pounds, he says, a colossal allegorical weight was lifted. Children who are overweight have a personal satisfaction like children with persistent illnesses like malignant growth, says Carrie Boutelle, Ph.D., LP, a puberty and corpulence master at the University of Minnesota. At her STAR Service for At-Risk Teens clinic, she tracks down that overweight children will in general have, or are in danger for, gloom, helpless mental self-portrait, and social confinement. They are likewise seen as sluggish and less appealing than ordinary weight adolescents. High schooler weight loss woes. For Fletcher, her craving to help her overweight child turned into an enthusiasm for discovering answers for help overweight adolescents. She met 104 children to realize what life resembled when they were overweight, and what assisted them with losing the weight and keep it off. The outcomes were distributed in Weight Loss Confidential: How Teens Lose Weight and Keep It Off and What They Wish Parents Knew. Their accounts made me extremely upset. Being overweight influenced their prominence, confidence, capacity to get dates, all that is imperative to a youngster, says Fletcher, who additionally composed the Thin for Life arrangement on weight control in grown-ups. One of the teen young ladies in the book portrayed young men grabbing them as though it were worthy since they were overweight. The agony and enduring of being an overweight high schooler was what at last drove a large portion of these youngsters to accept genuine weight reduction, says Fletcher. How parents can help teens with weight loss. Adolescents can't prevail at weight reduction alone. They need strong guardians who establish sound home conditions, and who fill in as great good examples. At the point when guardians prevail at shedding pounds, their kids are bound to prevail too. However, when a high schooler has overweight guardians, it's frequently exceptionally hard for that youngster to get more fit. The hardest part about assisting kids with getting more fit is safe guardians who would prefer not to change their own conduct, says Boutelle. Specialists concur that it's an impractical notion for guardians to bother or make statements like, "Haven't you had enough?" to their overweight adolescents. All things being equal, let your kids realize you are there for them and willing to help. At that point, ease off and let them choose when they're prepared. Guardians need to give their children some space without feeling like they are abandoning them, says Gilbert. At the point when guardians are tyrannical, their ideas blow back, and the adolescent passes up the significant inspiration that comes from settling on choices for yourself. Specialists encourage conversing with them about the advantages and disadvantages of being overweight. However, use models they can identify with. For instance, talk about the effect their overabundance weight will have in rec center class, not on their well-being. They could think often less about well-being or what will occur in 10 years, says Boutelle. They embrace the here and now. Teenagers ought to likewise be engaged with the cycle, Fletcher says. Request that they help choose which bites and food sources ought to be on the staple rundown and which ones should we kill for the whole family, not simply the overweight teenager, says Fletcher. Probably everything you can manage for overweight adolescents is to help them have a positive outlook on themselves, specialists say. Furthermore, one approach to do this is to assist them with developing their resources and qualities. In the event that you can help your youngster have a positive outlook on herself, it will engage her and help her oppose the torture, says Fletcher. What's more, a high schooler who feels enabled is bound to handle a weight issue. Exercise for teen weight loss. Model practices are not restricted to the kitchen. Dynamic guardians ordinarily breed dynamic children, so in the event that you need your children to turn out to be more physical, lead the way, says Boutel. She likewise recommends killing the TV and restricting PC time. Guardians might need to reevaluate permitting teenagers to have TVs in their rooms. Studies show that kids who go through hours before screens are more inactive, and to aggravate it, there is a solid inclination to nibble carelessly while sitting, says Boutel. Keeping it off. For all intents and purposes, every one of the youngsters profiled in Weight Loss Confidential, ordinary exercise has become a lifestyle. Exercise, a sound eating routine, and changing practices is the thing that will have an effect and assist kids with shedding pounds and keep it off, says Boutel. Fletcher asked youngsters what caused them oppose falling once again into unfortunate propensities. The mind-boggling reaction: these children would not like to get back to the excruciating days when they were overweight. She adds, the children are likewise more joyful, more fearless, appreciating an improved personal satisfaction, and feeling better as a rule. Fletcher's child, Wes, concurs. I'm basically more joyful from various perspectives. I have less uneasiness about my appearance, my weight is not, at this point, ever present in the rear of my psyche, I feel better, have more energy, and have figured out how to appreciate numerous new sorts of food sources, he says. Youngster weight loss wisdom. Boutel says that fruitful practices for young weight reduction include eating more leafy foods, eating all the more entire grains, eating all the more low-fat dairy and lean meats, eating less fat, drinking less pop, practicing consistently, getting on the scale week by week. As far as concerns them, guardians can stock the house with quality food varieties, including a few treats. They can likewise appreciate nutritious food sources and participate in normal actual work along with their youngsters. Yet, while filling in as great good examples, guardians should in any case permit youngsters to settle on their own decisions. To succeed, youngsters need to assume liability for what they eat and how frequently they work out. Guardians may require some extra direction to assist overweight youngsters with getting the stage where they are prepared to get in shape. Medical services experts can give ideas that teenagers will tune into, just as help for the two guardians and youngsters.